Ladies first.
Thank you.
What's
Hi. Earlier you were talking about, or someone came up here talking about women being on OnlyFans. Would you support eradicating like OnlyFans and porn as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, I think pornography has a lot of problems. I think it should be absolutely limited to some degree for sure. It's a big problem.
Do you think that it's more on the women that are posting this or the men that are like consuming said content? Or
Both
should it really
parties.
be on both?
Both parties.
Okay. And also you were talking about women not being able to vote, which is obviously pretty extreme.
Repeal the 19th Amendment, yeah.
I assume that comes from your stance of like modern day feminism where women have really taken it out of its bounds, I feel. If you went to non-modern day feminism, like just, I guess, Jane Addams, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, like just advocating for women to that they're worth more than just being in the home, do you think that chivalry and all of those things that you said no longer apply to courting and dating, that could work if that type of feminism is what prevailed today?
I mean, chivalry is dead and women killed it.
So do you feel that it is solely because of women that it's dead?
It's a big contributor to the destruction of chivalry, yes. It's not the only thing. You know, you can make other arguments.
Okay. And how do you feel that, like what exactly did women do? I'm curious.
Say that again?
What exactly did women do to have chivalry die on their behalf?
Because men that treat women chivalrously typically are not rewarded for that. They're punished for it. There's a reason why the phrase "nice guys finish last" is extremely popular and it stood the test of time.
All right. Yeah, I just wanted to hear your stance on that.
Yeah. No. I mean, being a nice guy never works really. Who's up next? Also, for all of you guys that just joined, welcome. Some of my stances: women are dumb, Jews run America, it wasn't 6 million, Indians stink, blacks commit crimes too much, and trainees shouldn't have guns. Boom.
All right, how's it going, Myron? I mean, you've already talked about how you feel about the ideal man should be the ideal woman to be, so I'm not going to ask you about that more. But I will want to ask about is that, you know, when a man and woman come together, they form a relationship and then ideally a family. And I think that's I think that's a beautiful thing. And so my question really is, or the core of my question is, how important do you think that the family structure is in our modern world?
It's critical. It's the cornerstone of any thriving society.
Yeah, and I also think like that, like you said a lot, like, you know, a woman should be home, a woman should be like, you know, making sandwiches, whatever. But like, I also think that to a degree it's important for, you know, the man to also be home and present in his household just as much as he's working. Like, I think that it's important for a woman to take care of their kids, a woman to be, you know, a part of the family just as much as a man and a husband and a father is.
Yeah, no, I understand your perspective, but I think when, you know, children are young in the child rearing years, obviously the mom is going to be more important.
Yeah,
I think the dad needs to step in more during the teenage years, you know, to kind of be more of a disciplinarian. I've always said good dads keep daughters off shirt poles and sons out of jail. So I think the father's job is kind of come in as they become teenagers and adolescents to kind of let them know, hey, look, there's consequences to doing certain things in life. And hopefully the father will discipline the child before the state or the police have to, before they ruin their life. Right? Like if you catch your kid smoking weed, you know, I'm a big proponent of slapping the shit out of your kid if they do some fuck shit, because they need that negative reinforcement. Because I'd rather your dad smack you and tell you not to do drugs or smoke weed than you get smacked by a cop and then put in handcuffs and then have your future ruined with a criminal record.
Yeah, and also like on the, I guess like, considering the dynamic of how, you know, women should be in the household, men should also be in the household, I'm just wondering, like, do you think there's like any degree to which that, you know, just as much as a man can, you know, make money, be a breadwinner, a woman can also like provide, I guess, monetarily in a sense for like her family? I
think if she has like an at-home job that's not too laborious, where she doesn't have to worry about, you know, checking in with some boss or answering to some other man, and she doesn't have a kid, then I get that. But I think once kids come into the picture, that's got to be priority number one.
Okay, I understand.
So like, yeah, there's obviously going to be different scenarios, and I do understand that we live in an expensive, inflated world now. But obviously, I think every guy should strive to be the sole breadwinner, and when kids come in, that's got to be the priority. And if that means she's got to quit her career, quit her career.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, all right, appreciate it.
No worries, man. Hi.
Hi. So you think women?
He's probably
deserve
Jewish,
less?
chat. Leave him alone.
So you think women deserve
real
less?
life chat?
So background, I've been enlisted in the military. I'm in ROTC right now.
Okay.
Why do you think a woman in the military is any less than a man except for physical aspects? First of all. Second of all, 75% of healthcare support workers are women. What are you going to do if all those women start going home and making sandwiches and that's all they do? What is your economy going to do? What is your military going to do? Think about it. Like, actually think about that. Tell me about that.
You're in the American military?
Yes.
Oh, God. Okay. Because you have an accent, so I wasn't sure if you're like, are you like dual citizen?
Yeah.
What country?
Britain. And I'm also a Zionist Jew.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
you think I have loyalty to Israel? What about to America? What about to Britain? That I would proudly serve and die for?
Well, first and foremost, I think having dual citizens in the armed forces is a big L. That's not good. And then number two, the reason why I don't think women should serve in combat positions is because women are physically inferior to men in every way.
What
And I
about all
think
the
it weakens-
non-combat positions? Think
What was that?
about that.
What was that?
Non-combat positions. The army's not just grunts.
Of course, that's why I said combat positions. They shouldn't be in the front lines because I'd
That's
be pissed
fine.
off if I was in the infantry and I had a woman in my squad that can't even drag me to safety. You're only as strong as your weakest component. And,
Okay,
you know,
bar that. What happens if all the women go home and they just like making babies all the time and in the kitchen making sandwiches?
we'd have a
What
way
about
better society.
healthcare?
We'd have a
What
way
about
better
the
society.
economy? Almost 47% of the workforce is women. So
Yeah,
after
and
they
that's-
all go home,
Yeah. Yeah.
what happens to your economy?
It would be better.
You think it would be better?
Yeah. Yeah. You guys would be making sandwiches and we'd have nuclear families and the men can work and, you know, do what they're supposed to do.
It's
And,
2026. We have dual income households that can still barely get by.
yep. And this is why feminism is a huge problem.
So you're
I said-
blaming feminism for that?
Yeah. It's led to a lot of problems.
Not
yeah.
the economy, not like Republican governors, not the government, tariffs, not Trump
Well,
doing
that's
all
another
that.
problem. Like women have the right to
Definitely not
vote.
that.
I think we should take the 19th away too.
That's
I think we
crazy.
need to repeal the 19th as well. That's,
How are you?
Go ahead, man. What's up?
What's up? I guess I'll start like, what can you contextualize the statement "women deserve less"? Like exactly what does that mean?
Why women deserve less?
No, what do you mean exactly by women deserve less?
Don't be a simp.
Yeah, I mean I need a bit more of an explanation. Like I guess women deserve less is like if you're saying, you know, you're just bending over backwards.
It's not
whatever
rocket
for them.
science, man. What I'm saying is men need to be more protective of their time, energy, and money and resources and not just give it up and not just like, you know, simp for a girl and put her on a pedestal because what ends up happening is you lose attraction. Women don't respond favorably to men that look at them as an equal or worse yet, a guy that pedestalizes them.
I don't think that
She
those
should be
two things-
pedestalizing you. That's when it works. She needs to be chasing your affection. You need to be the prize. And obviously for you to become the prize, you need to get in the gym, you need to make money, you need to become competent, you need to be able to be charming, charismatic. So that's what I'm saying.
Those are all like, you know, good qualities of a man to have, especially I know
Sure.
you were talking with the guy before about how women have elevated, but I don't see that as a bad thing that makes them then deserve less. For example, you said, you know, a woman
No, it's
should
absolutely
always,
that's precisely why you have to give them less. Dude, if you saw like how much attention regular girls get, like if you look on if you have a female friend, ask to look at her Instagram, ask to look at her dating apps. You're gonna get red pilled immediately. You're gonna see thousands of dudes hitting them up saying she's beautiful, she's a princess. You're gonna see dudes offering to fly her out. You're gonna see dudes offering to give her Cash App, money on Cash App and Venmo. Like in 2026, women live a completely different reality than men do. So since women live a different reality that men do and they don't appreciate men, you must make them appreciate you because the status quo is that most women simply don't respect most men. Now, none of them are going to admit this, but it's the truth. Most guys are virtually invisible to most women.
sure. Wouldn't better advice be to elevate as a man than to give a woman less?
That's precisely what I'm saying. You elevate and you give her less.
I just, okay. You know what? You also said you don't think the 19th Amendment should be a thing.
Yeah, I don't think women should vote.
Why?
Okay. Here's the thing. Do we have any women here that want to come up? I was going to ask a female a question here. Well, come up real fast. Okay.
What do you want?
Okay, so you think women should vote?
Yeah, and you're saying that we're less intelligent? Why?
Okay, well let me ask you this. What is a selective service?
Men are drafted over the age of 18. They're required to serve.
Fantastic. Now, do women have to enroll in it?
No, but that doesn't
That's
mean
why you
that-
guys shouldn't vote.
That doesn't mean that we can vote. We do.
Yeah, that's precisely why you guys shouldn't vote. The
Oh, so
problem
you're
here
saying-
is that women have less of a skin in the game, but have all the same privileges and rights as men. I would argue women have more rights and privileges than men with less responsibility.
What the hell did you go through, man?
All right. Well, let me get back to him and finish with him. Then you can come back up. W for knowing what the selective service is. Most women don't, and that's another privilege that women enjoy that men don't. Go ahead. But you can get on the mic after.
I think
Just
that,
to finish what you're saying.
I think that just because, let's say, women don't have to go to war, there's a lot of different facets of, let's say, a country or whatever you're voting for, that aren't war. Like, I don't know, something as simple as picking or like just even picking a governor or whatever. These aren't things that have to pertain
Women
to war.
overwhelmingly vote Democrat. They overwhelmingly vote for socialist/progressive policies because women crave security. So if they don't have it through their man, they typically want it from the government. And what ends up happening is, since women, don't really understand competency and dominance hierarchies like men do, they want equality across the board, and that simply doesn't work. It's like communism. Sounds good on paper, but it doesn't really work in practice. So if we had to rely on the female vote, we would have Kamala Harris in office right now. Now, with that said, I'm not too happy with what Trump's doing either, but I still think he's a far better candidate than Kamala Harris.
But we're
would
not
be.
relying on women. We have a society that's full of women and men, and that's why things go
But
out
that's
the
what I'm
way
trying to
that they
explain to
do.
you. If we relied only on the female vote, we would have Kamala Harris in office. Women overwhelmingly are the reasons why Democrats and progressives get into office. Women
But-
are overwhelmingly the reason why progressive, pernicious ideologies are pushed in society.
Progressive ideologies were pushed in society before women could vote.
But it came under the Trojan horse of feminism. Feminism was the Trojan horse, and then all the other bullshit came behind it.
Regardless, if men are the only ones voting, okay, whatever Trojan horse of feminism, it's still happening, regardless of if women are voting or not, no?
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying we need to repeal the 19th.
But it happened before the 19th.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, we need to repeal the 19th.
That's
my
makes
argument.
no sense. Like, if the same effect is going to happen with or without the 19th.
No, it's not going to happen.
and
No, actually, it's
this
not.
was happening before the 19th.
It's
was.
not, because women overwhelmingly vote Democrat. They overwhelmingly go towards more progressive/socialist candidates.
Okay, that's like saying
Now, is that all
minorities.
of them?
That's
But-
like saying minorities overwhelmingly vote Democrat. Overwhelmingly.
They do too, yeah.
Okay, so are you saying that minorities also shouldn't have the?
Well, they're a
Option to
minority, so
vote?
it doesn't affect the vote as much. But with women, they're half of the
Regardless.
population, so that does affect the voting population or the voting.
Okay, regardless, if you're saying that your argument is that women shouldn't have the opportunity to vote because just based off of how they were born, them being a woman, that they're skewing votes, they're skewing elections.
Now, here's the
same
thing.
goes with minorities.
If they serve, if they do like some type of government function or something like that, or they have like some type of skin in the game, then
women
maybe.
are allowed to work for the government.
But in general, I don't think women should have the right to vote. No.
Women are allowed to work for the government.
No, I'm saying in this example, because you're saying like, oh, why should they not have the right to vote? There would be some exceptions where if they had government service or something like that, then yes. But for the majority, I don't think women should be voting. No.
Okay, but if you're in a time period where you're not
And look,
in
if
war,
you don't agree, that's fine. Like we can agree to disagree. That's
Well, I'm
fine.
just
But
trying to break down
my
your
argument is
argument.
that my argument is very simple. Women don't have the same skin in the game in society as men do, yet they enjoy all the same benefits and privileges that men do and rights that men do. Men control the infrastructure. Men are overwhelmingly the protectors and providers, and they're the ones that secure the country. They're the ones that have the monopoly of force. And if anything does happen, men are on the hook for defending the country. So I look at it like if we can go to war, right, and the commander in chief controls that, I think the people that have the skin in the game should be the ones to vote, not the women, because they don't have the same skin in the game and can be sent to fight. That makes sense? It's just that's it. They don't have skin in the game, so
I don't understand logically how.
it's very simple.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to address like your argument about the Secret Service.
About what?
Sorry, not the Secret Service, the Selective Service.
Sure.
So you said that women shouldn't have the right to vote because we can't get drafted. So then couldn't you argue that older people who are too old to be drafted shouldn't be able to vote either?
Well, all men have to be in the selective service.
Right, but the
Otherwise, we go to jail or get fined.
Right, but that hasn't been a thing for several decades. It's in remission right now. So wouldn't you argue that people there have been people in this lifetime that have never been in a period where they would have to be drafted. So do they get the right to vote, those men?
I mean, we're literally about to go to war with Iran right now.
Right, but there is no selective draft right now.
But okay, whether there's a draft or not, men are still on the hook and have to have skin in the game.
But currently they're not, because that law was repealed after Vietnam.
The fact that you're even arguing with me this way actually kind of proves the privilege that you have. So here's the difference. If a man turns 18, right? We're here at a college, right? State school. You can't get a scholarship or get financial aid unless you're in the selective service. You can't get a government job. You can't get a state job. You have certain opportunities taken away from you if you don't enter into selective service. These are all the same things that women could do without being in a selective service.
So there actually was, I'm pretty sure there was a law that was, or bill that was proposed for women to also be drafted. If that were the case, and if it were to pass, do you think women would be able to vote then? Because now we have the same.
I wouldn't even want them in the military, to be honest with you. This is like a multi-pronged issue. Like, it's not just that they shouldn't vote. I also don't think women should be in the military in combat situations either. I think that's a man's job. That men should be doing that, not women.
Okay. I don't really know how to argue with you with that.
Well, because I got the truth on my side. Men are physically superior. So it's like,
Well, women have been proven to be more intelligent on average.
most geniuses are men.
And
Most
Okay.
inventions were created by men. A lot of the modern conveniences you enjoy were made by men. The microphone you're using was made by a man. The stand was made by a man. All of this stuff was made by men. Women don't really contribute to the same degree as men do when it comes to infrastructure and inventions. The civilized life that you enjoy nowadays was created by men predominantly.
Well, that's because we live in a society that has favored men for a lot of time. I mean, women couldn't even enter the workforce until.
Okay,
the
well,
feminist
explain this to me.
movement.
Why is it that women are overrepresented in colleges, they're overrepresented in higher education, overrepresented in graduation, yet men still control the infrastructure and still keep the world running? Despite the fact that women are more educated now than ever before, make more money. I'll tell you why. Because women choices put them in certain job fields that might not necessarily be as critical for human infrastructure. Women prefer to do jobs that deal with people, HR, firing people, saying, here's a safe space. Let's go ahead and have fun. Like, a lot of women have bullshit jobs. So
Okay,
it is what it is.
But I don't understand.
Not
If you
all, but a lot do.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I need to clarify something.
Sure.
So you say that women are stupid and they have bullshit jobs, but then you also say that, I'm sorry, hold on. Do you think women should be able to work?
What was that?
Do you think women should be able to work?
They shouldn't be prioritizing it.
They shouldn't be prioritizing.
They should not be prioritizing it. I'm obviously a realist, and I understand that we live in an inflated world, and two incomes and things are expensive. But I don't think that women should be prioritizing it. And unfortunately, women don't prioritize a family or a man at all. They wait until their late 20s, 30s, they hit their epiphany, and then they try to find a guy. And by then, a lot of times it's too late.
Well, I would argue that that's more of a societal problem because women they have to be financially independent.
They don't have to be. They choose to be.
In this society,
And the reason why they choose to be is because, back to what I was saying, most women don't find most men attractive. So most women...
why do you think that is?
Why?
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's always been that way, right? Something like 90% of women have procreated since the beginning of time versus only 40% of men. So women have already almost always disqualified a majority of men, but thanks to social media, feminism, women having their own jobs, etc., even more men are disqualified from the sexual
You don't
marketplace.
think that the reverse is true for
I'm
men?
sorry?
That men have become more selective as well?
Not at all. Men have become far more desperate, if anything. To put things in perspective, the average female has more dating options and sexual market pull than like a celebrity dude.
So yeah, we could sleep with anyone we want, but the quality of men isn't good.
No, but the point is you have access to these men.
Right, but just because we have access doesn't mean that these are good men.
That's an opportunity. That's huge.
I'm
You
not
can go on a
understanding.
date, like you can literally walk into a bar and go, and people are not going to care. But if I do that shit, they're going to be like, what the fuck? Get this thing out of here. So it's like, it's not the same at all. Women have far more opportunities than men do when it comes to
but I'm
dating.
saying,
And the issue
yes, we
here,
have more opportunity, but they're not necessarily good opportunities, is what I'm saying.
well, trust me, there's going to be a couple good ones in there. It's just that you guys typically don't want to date them because they're boring or their socks don't match or some other frivolous reason women
I feel
disqualify
like you have
guys.
a very small, specific sample size of women.
I'm sorry?
Because the majority of women, as a woman, and with several friends who are women as well, we don't view guys this way. In fact, we look past a lot of traits that most people would consider problematic.
That's bullshit. The majority of women are chasing the top small percentage of men. That's just what it is. And look, that's just a natural selection. It's always been that way.
I
But
can see how you could believe that, seeing like your sample size. But from my perspective,
let's use this college campus for example. Who are the guys that are fucking the most girls on campus? More than likely, probably the frat guys and athletes, right? That's more. That's a social status thing, and that's almost representative of the real world too. So the girls here at the school, you can use this college campus as an example. The guys that are going to be cleaning up and have the most sexual access are a minority of the men that have some type of prestige or status on the campus, aka a big frat or one of the athletes, right? The football team is going to get, a guy from the football team, for example, here, is going to get way more girls than a guy that doesn't play a sport or a guy that's on a club team, right? So college almost sets you up for this, and it's a realistic interpretation of how the real world works when it comes to sexual, intersexual dynamics. And all the women are attracted, not all, but a majority of the women are attracted to a small percentage of the men. And this is literally embodied right here on the college campus. The real world is very similar.
So you're saying that men, like you were saying before, they should go to the gym and they should better themselves to
Absolutely.
attract more women.
Absolutely.
Yes, I agree. I agree with that.
Absolutely. But a lot don't.
Right. So then, why does that fall on the women? Why should men? Why should women?
I'm not
accept
complaining
subpar
about,
men?
I want to be clear about this. I'm not like complaining that women are hypergamous. I'm just letting guys know that this is how women are. Because the problem here is that men aren't taught this stuff. They're taught women are sugar and spice and everything nice, be a gentleman, chivalry, blah, blah, blah. And they're not taught these unflattering and, black pill type realities about female nature. They think it's a Disney fairy tale. So that's why I put out these facts, because a lot of guys don't figure this out until it's too late. I'm sure you've heard a couple guys come up here where they gave it all to a girl, they were in a relationship, it ended up badly because, they were simping, or they treated her like an equal, or they didn't uphold their end of the bargain with, provisioning or being a
I feel
leader.
like that's survivorship bias. Only the people whose relationships didn't work out are going to complain.
Well, relationships are kind of in the toilet. We have high divorce rates. We have women that are, finding a majority of men as, unsatisfactory from a relationship perspective. Like, it's kind of, women's standards have went up, and alongside that, more and more guys are being ostracized, which, again, I'm not complaining about it. I'm just bringing this out there to all the guys out there that being an average guy no longer works.
All right, that's all I had to say.
No problem. Who's up next?